There is a certain kind of fame that doesn't vanish, but it doesn't exactly follow you either. It lingers in the background like a shadow, still there, just not as sharp as it once was. That's what happened to Tony Hawk, a man who wasn't just famous, he was skateboarding. He turned a niche sport into a cultural force, but today people don't even recognize him. Let's rewind. Back to the 90s and early 2000s. Tony Hawk was everywhere, not just on skateboards, but in commercials, magazine covers, cereal boxes, and games. And it would be through those games that I discovered both him and skating. See, I grew up with a Nintendo GameCube that was gifted to me, and all the classics like The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, Super Mario Sunshine, etc. But what I found out while looking through my games was this game cover that just hooked me. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. Something about this cover just screams early 2000s, and every time I see it, it makes me smile. It's very important to me since it was my first local co-op game and a game I would blast with my boys non-stop. However, I didn't know that Tony Hawk was a person. I was just a little kid and thought that's just the name of the game, but when I grew older, I learned more about him and his rise to fame, so I wanted to share that with you. So first off, did you know his real name isn't Tony Hawk? Yeah, I was discombobulated, perplexed and bewildered as well. His real name is Anthony Frank Hawk. I have no idea where he found Tony in all of that. Oh, to give you a little backstory about him since it's very interesting, he started skating and fell in love with it at a young age. At just 14 years old, he turned pro and went on to win various prizes at competitions, making him more and more well known.
I turned pro when I was 14. Yeah, and then, but I mean that. When I say that, it might seem magical, but at the time, skating was this little tiny scene. So when I literally went pro, I was filling out an entry form to a competition. And I had already reached the top of the amateur ranks, and there was a little box that said pro and a little box that said am. So I checked the pro box. And that was it. I was pro. No one was offering me a contract. No one had champagne, you know what I mean? And like my coach was, I'll never forget, Stacey Peralta was looking over my shoulder, and I checked it, and he's like, okay.
That's it.
That was it, yeah.
In just 3 years after turning pro, he was making somewhere around $500,000 a year in today's money, and that's like $42K a month. But of course, he spent it all on stupid stuff like cars, traveling, and a tanning bed. Yeah.
But what did your parents think about you buying a house?
It was my dad's idea.
Really?
Yeah, because he saw me really not understanding finances or how lucky I was, and I was just throwing money away, you know, on cars and trips and sharper image and just the most ridiculous things. And then he's like, I really think you should invest your money. This is a long story, but my sister and I went in on a tanning bed together. It was like, I used it once.
Honestly, I can't fault him for that though, since instead of buying a house in 2008, I was eating sand. I guess we both made bad financial decisions. That would come around to bite him as skateboarding started to decline sharply. Vert skating, that was Tony's specialty, was replaced by street skating, and big corporate sponsors began pulling out. He said his income was being cut in half every month. This made him have to sell his house and drive a beat-up car, with the future of his career and skateboarding as a whole being put in question.
It all came crashing down in about like 1991, 92, where my paycheck was all based on royalties of skate products. And it started getting cut in half every month.
Whoa.
Just from lack of interest, lack of sales.
Why did it drop? Was it just a liability thing?
It was that, and just skating was considered a fad, and it was just like, and also my style of skating, I skated the ramps, right? So I'm a vert skater. Vert skating was just instantly not cool because street skating had taken over. So I was considered this dinosaur. And it was just like, you're out. Skating's not cool, and you're not cool in skating.
That would all change in 1999 when he landed the first ever 900 at the X Games. 2.5 mid-air spins. This is his iconic signature move and the one I always try to hit in his video games. Also, side note, the soundtracks in his games are straight bangers. I mean it, banger after banger. Pretty sure it's responsible for my taste in music. But all things come to an end, and so did skateboarding. With the rise of the new technologies, skateboarding became more and more obscure and started fading from mainstream culture. The games stopped selling like they used to, new trends took over. Skateboarding isn't dead by any means though. It's still the most popular extreme sport, but it definitely isn't as popular as it once was, and neither is Tony. But he didn't disappear. He kept skating, kept building skate parks, kept mentoring young talent. But the cameras stopped rolling, the world stopped watching. And here's where it gets strange. Tony Hawk is still famous. He's still one of the most recognizable names in extreme sports history, but people don't seem to recognize him anymore. He often shares stories on Twitter, people at airports or coffee shops saying, "You look like that skateboarder guy. What's his name again?" Or even worse, "Didn't he die?" It's funny in a sad kind of way. Here's a guy who helped define a generation and now he walks through crowds unnoticed. Still legendary, just not visible anymore. There's something deeply human about that, because this isn't just about Tony Hawk. It's about how we treat fame, how we forget, how we move on so quickly, even from the people who changed everything. Tony, on the other hand, not bitter. If anything, he seems at peace. He jokes about being forgotten, he gives back to the community, he skates with his kids, and he builds skate parks in underprivileged areas. In a way, this video was made as a thank you to Tony Hawk. He showed me that chasing your dreams, putting in the hard work, and not giving up is never for naught. There is a time for everyone, and yours will come too, if you have the strength to see it through. I think this is the perfect moment to wrap up the video. Let me know in the comments below if you'd be interested in watching a video based around his games. If not, feel free to let me know what other topic you'd like me to cover. Like this video if you liked it and subscribe for more content like this one. That's all for this video, I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!